When I was very little, just learning to walk, there was just one incident where I was walking, and since I had my sensory in my feet, I didn't really feel what was going on, but there was blood trickling down my foot because I was on my toes constantly and putting pressure in that, which caused a crack and like blood was pouring out. And so that was like the start date.
Okay, so this little kid's come a long way. When he was born with problems with his legs, contractures in his hip, contractures in his hamstring and his ankles. So he basically walked like this. Dump this out, brother. This is Skylar's life. When he was born, like I said, his ankle tightness was so tight that he couldn't even stand flat-footed till he was 5, almost 6. And he's gone through series of casts on his feet like this. He's gone through 4 casting. They're called serial casting, where they would stretch his ankle, cast it, and he would have both legs casted at the same time. And he's gone through that 4 different times in his life. So our phase 1 was casting, and then they would put him in a brace like this to help stretch his ankle up. Then we kept graduating, and this is what he's using now. And come on over here with your Sasquatch feet. Same thing, stretching his ankle movement and helping him retrain the walk, heel, toe. And as you can see, pull up your pants, go sideways. All right, bring your ankle up and down. So we're super excited about this. Most people will take this for granted, but this is huge for Skylar because he's been working on this since the age of 3 years old. He hasn't been able to get his ankle up, something that most people take for granted. He couldn't put his foot flat at all because the muscle contractures were so tight. So basically we redesigned the house to kind of help him improve his flexibility. We get creative as much as possible. I've kind of made a lot of different of the toys, so we'll put a ball on one end there, and then he'll have to stomp on it and try to catch the ball. So this would work on his eye-hand coordination. When he was little, he couldn't even cross his body when he was writing. So in kindergarten, he would start writing the letter with one hand and finish it with the other hand. He couldn't cross all the way over. So eye-hand coordinations activities like this would help him a lot. So this was Christina's original idea to help him with his flexibility and stretch out his ankles. I had somebody build me this loft bed that included a rock wall. So that way every time he has to go to bed, he had to stretch his legs. So pretty much every movement that he has to do during his life, I was making sure he was stretching his legs. One of the things he had was they called auditory processing disorder, which he couldn't modulate his voice, meaning he couldn't understand the levels of his voice. And so I put him in abacus math, where he's mentally doing mathematics and listening to the numbers, and that's helped him with his listening skills quite a bit. So this is the Indian and the Chinese system using the abacus board, and what they do is mentally help you process the information in your head. So he's actually listening to the math numbers. Right now he's doing it just visually. All right, Skylar, you ready?
Yep.
We'll start with something easy. 12 plus 32 plus 62 minus 54 plus 57 equals?
109.
That's correct. Okay. 15 plus 23 plus 53 minus 47 plus 6 equals?
50.
Okay, let's do some multiplication. 125 multiplied by 4 plus 36 minus 52. Answer?
484.
Yes.
I had this incident where I was like, we were painting, and I was like, when I was touching it because of my sensory skills, and they put me in this chair and they strapped me down. And then my mom came and she was like, "Hey, what's up?" And they told her what happened. And then so she looked into that and did some research. And then she found that out.
Here you have Skylar's arsenal of drums. So because he was hypersensitive at his hands and didn't like things touching his hands, I put him in African drumming. So he thought I was doing it just to be fun, but that helped him so that way he wouldn't be so sensitive with touching things on his hands. So this is what we do just for fun. We'll sit around and he thinks that I'm just hanging out having fun, but I'm actually doing part of his therapy with him. So go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, my mom, she's really good with understanding with like the situation. Like, yeah, that's just how she handles it.
He did his first triathlon on a tricycle. I had to strap his feet in because his toes were pointed up so much. And when he was wet with a wet shirt at daycare, he would cry. Ah! It was like fire because he couldn't tolerate the feel of wet clothes. So that's why I put him in a triathlon, because I took his competitive drive and took it to his advantage.
Somebody that's like Skylar, I've probably had in the 17 years that I've been doing or teaching martial arts, a handful of times. I think maybe half a dozen students out of the hundreds that I've been able and had the opportunity to teach. So it's very far and few in between. For him to come in and do the things that he does regularly, it's so awesome to be able to sit back and watch him and see how much he's just grown in the time that he's been with us. He has some physical limitations that his mom has told me about, and he hasn't let any of those things slow him down whatsoever, and they've actually become his strengths. And you can see that he really pushes himself, and having her support and then also her being able to tell you, hey, you know what, if he's not doing something, I want you to treat him like he was your own, and I want you to push him. I mean, those types of things are some of the things that he has that are not necessarily weaknesses, but that are his strengths. As a performer, because he likes to perform for people because it makes him feel good when he can put a smile on somebody else's face. He's a very accomplished dancer. He is a very accomplished martial artist, and I think the two kind of, in a way, they kind of complement each other, because he has this sense of his body that only a dancer would really have, and that helps complement his martial arts training.
Who's your biggest fan?
My mom. She's the first biggest fan because she's always calm under pressure, and she's always just super soft, and she can be gentle, and she can be strict at sometimes, but she can also at the same time be really nice and really cool.
He's worked really, really hard his whole life. He's been in occupational speech therapy, worked at the house since he was 3. So all of his challenges have now become his passions. So everything that we did to help improve him, mostly just physically and to help him socially, have become his strength. The abacus math to help him with his listening ability, has now become his passion. Now he wants to go to MIT. The tap dance, working on his ankle flexibility. He's going to be performing at the Austin Music Hall doing tap dance. The martial arts, he used to come home crying, couldn't keep up with other kids. Now he's assisting in the martial arts classes like a little junior instructor. So we're real blessed, right?
Right.
Team Johnson.
Thanks again.